What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back. Today we get to talk to Patricio Pitbull Freire, a former lightweight champion at Bellator, now the current featherweight champ. So he's been a champ, man. This guy is a historical figure in the history of Bellator. And so the Bellator Championship Series moves on after the acquisition of Bellator by PFL. They're doing their own thing, and the champ will be defending his belt against Jeremy Kennedy out in Belfast, Ireland. And this takes place on March 22nd. Thank you for joining us on the show. Patricio, how are you?
Thank you very much, my friend. I'm very good. Just right to go.
You know, the last few months, a lot has happened with the acquisition of Bellator by PFL. Although you guys are staying on your own, you were going to have a champ fight against Jesus Pinedo. That didn't happen. But now you focus on your own belt. But tell me, how has the last few months been for you? Has it been confusing, stressful, or is it business as usual for the champion?
Pouco confuso, né? Muita coisa acontecendo ao mesmo tempo, mudança de adversário, venda do Bellator, eu me recuperando de uma lesão ao mesmo tempo, né? Então a gente tem que estar com a cabeça ali firme para poder fazer um bom trabalho no camp, né? E manter focado. É difícil, mas tudo isso foi feito, me sinto pronto, o peso está bom, a saúde está boa, a lesão está tudo contido no lugar e eu me sinto bem preparado para esse combate.
Everything has been great. I've recovered from the surgery that I had on my neck. My weight is on point. The camp is on point, and we've prepared across all the T's, and we know exactly how to get in there for this fight.
And this is his translator, Mateus. Thank you, Mateus, for participating here. I should have introduced you early on. You'll be hearing his voice throughout the interview, although the champ has told me he's going to try from time to time because I think his English is good, and I think he's holding back on us. We talked before the interview. He's got good English. So here we go. All right. So, Patricio, what about Pinedo? I know you're focused on Kennedy, but what about Pinedo? Do you want that next?
O cinturão muito bem bolado, ficou aquela vontade de lutar, enfrentar o campeão de outra organização. Já tinha batido em Kleber, né, o ex-campeão do Rise, naquele período lá que eu lutei no Japão, no final do ano. E seria outra oportunidade de lutar contra Jesus Pinedo e bater em mais um campeão, dessa vez do PFL. Fizeram um cinturão ali com um anel anexado, muito legal. Fiquei com vontade de trazer essa peça para casa. Infelizmente a luta não aconteceu, mas quem sabe aí eles guardam esse cinturão para uma próxima disputa entre o campeão do Bellator e o campeão do PFL. Continuo animado para fazer esse duelo e me sinto bem para enfrentar ele e trazer essa vitória também.
Yeah, so I really liked the idea of the champs versus champs fight. I really enjoyed the belt that they designed. There's the ring attached to it that you could use anywhere or use it on the ring, on the belt. So I really would like to have a chance to fight for that belt again. And I've already fought the rising champion, Kleber, and I beat him. And now I would have the chance to fight the PFL champion and also add that belt and that ring to my collection. So that's something that I really would be liking to do if possible in the future.
Patricio, many regard you as the greatest Bellator fighter in the history of that promotion. Would you agree?
Os números falam por si só. Eu concordo.
Yeah, the numbers speak for themselves, and of course I agree.
You've accomplished a lot at Bellator. We followed your career for a long time. Recently, though, you've had losing streak career. How would you answer the critics that say, well, maybe he's starting to wind down or he's past his prime?
Você recentemente teve a primeira sequência de derrotas na sua carreira, né? Como que você endereça aí os críticos que falam talvez ele tenha passado aí do período dele de validade, ele já não está mais no auge dele?
A gente nunca vai conseguir agradar todo mundo. É normal que sempre tenha um hater desse aí. Na verdade, esses caras são os caras que nos mantêm nos mantém motivados para chegar cada vez mais longe. Então, por favor, continue fazendo isso.
We'll never be able to please everyone, and there'll always be some hate for it. So, in fact, those are the guys that keep us motivated. So, if they want to keep doubting me, please continue doing that.
And as far as Jeremy Kennedy, was that the opponent that was given to you, or do you have a say as champ on who you want to fight? Because we know that Kennedy and Aaron Pico were both angling to be your next title defense.
Em relação ao seu adversário, você teve alguma voz sobre quem você enfrentaria ou foi imposto a você? Porque sabemos que tanto ele quanto o Pico poderiam ser sua próxima defesa.
Não, era um cara que já estava no radar. Pico tinha acabado de fazer uma luta lá na Arábia. Não ia ter tempo hábil de decidir entre os dois em uma revanche, quem seria o desafiante. Então, me ofereceram, eu concordei com a luta. Acho que faz sentido na divisão. E realmente ele é o cara aí, número 1 da categoria, abaixo do campeão.
No, he was a guy that was already on my radar. Pico had just fought in Saudi Arabia. They had a fight, but they wouldn't have time for a rematch to see who would fight me. So Bellator offered me this opportunity, and I took it. That's a guy that I was seeing for a long time for a possible opponent for my bout.
Makes sense, champ. All right, we're talking to Patricio Pitbull Freire, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Bellator MMA fighter in the history of their promotion. He's got a fight coming up against Jeremy Kennedy. Couple weeks. He's still in Brazil, but he'll be traveling soon to Northern Ireland to defend that strap. All right, Goes, what do you have for the champ?
Patricio, if we look up and down your record, you've faced a who's who of MMA. Where do you rank Jeremy Kennedy amongst all these opponents that you've had in the past?
Onde você ranqueia Jeremy Kennedy em meio aos adversários que você já enfrentou até hoje? Você já enfrentou grandes nomes do esporte.
Ele é um cara especial, apesar de não ser o cara mais duro de toda essa lista. Ele é um cara que consegue botar o seu jogo em prática, então ele tem algumas vitórias boas nesse aspecto que ele vai atrás. Eu não teria um ranking concreto de qual o número de cara mais duro que ele seria, mas ele está entre os 7 ali, está entre os 8 caras mais duros que eu enfrentei na minha carreira, com certeza. Talvez o número 8.
He's a special fighter, although he's not the dynamic type, and he's the kind that is very good at one thing and knows how to win fights. I can't tell you from the top of my head where I would rank him exactly at any given fight that before among all the guys that I fought. But judging by his skill set and what he brings to the table, I think he's there in the top 7 or 8 of all the guys that I've fought so far.
Is there a name throughout your career that, regardless of organization, weight class, is there a name that's just has always eluded you, somebody that you've always wanted to fight?
Tem algum nome, independente da organização, que você sempre quis enfrentar?
Todo lutador fala a mesma merda, né? Todo mundo quer lutar contra Conor McGregor, porque é a luta de milhões e tal. Mas eu gosto, na minha posição como campeão, de enfrentar campeões, seja ele quem for. O cinturão do UFC estava com o Volkanovski, que era uma luta que eu gostaria de fazer. Agora está com o Topuria, eu acho que seria uma luta interessante também de se fazer. Então, os campeões me agradam mais.
Yeah, most fighters will say, I want Conor McGregor because he's the $1 million fight and all that. But with me, it's never been like this. As a champion, my position as a champion have been for most of my career. I always looked at who was the champion at the time. So that was the guy that I wanted to fight. So up until recently, that guy would be Volkanovski, but he lost his title. So that guy now is Topuria. So to me, it matters who has the bout.
And, we keep talking about how grand his career has been. And it really is admirable, everything that he's done for the sport. Does he ever get to sit back and kind of enjoy the moment, look back and really feel different things, of what he's been able to accomplish? Can he maybe remember a time where he just kind of took himself out of fighter mode and just embraced what was happening and thought, wow, this is pretty cool what I've done?
A gente está falando de quão incrível tem sido sua carreira, né, até hoje. E em algum momento você para e pensa assim, tudo que você já realizou, que você fez no esporte, para, uau, tipo, eu fiz muita coisa foda.
Agradeço pelas palavras, me sinto lisonjeado por isso, mas realmente eu não tenho parado para observar isso. Sei do que eu já conquistei, tenho breves comemorações e celebrações nesse sentido, mas eu acho que eu tenho muito mais para dar. Me sinto do meu auge. Eu sei que alguns haters aí vão dizer que, né, o meu melhor já passou, mas eu me sinto ainda nesse estágio e vou provar na próxima luta. Então, tem muita coisa para conquistar ainda, não tenho tempo para parar, sentar e olhar o que eu fiz, não. Eu quero mais. Deixar para fazer isso quando eu me aposentar.
I really appreciate the kind words. I feel very flattered with them. And that's not something that I've given any thought yet, because in my head, there's still a lot more to come. So I still feel that I'm at my best, although we'll hear some haters, some people saying that my best is already past and that I don't have anything else to offer. But I'm going to show you that I still have plenty, and I can still achieve much more in my career going forward. So once all is said and done, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to enjoy it and think about all that. But I think that I still have a kind of a long road ahead.
Champ, in the United States, we have a monument called Mount Rushmore, and it's 4 great presidents in the north of the United States. And so a lot of times people will say, well, who's on the Mount Rushmore of basketball, soccer, MMA, things like that? So this is a little different, but I wanted to ask you, who would be on the Mount Rushmore of Brazilian fighters? So the best 4 Brazilian fighters in the history of MMA, who do you think it would be? And do you believe you have a place amongst that?
Nos Estados Unidos tem o Mount Rushmore, que é onde ficam as figuras de 4 grandes presidentes dos Estados Unidos, e sempre se fala no esporte, quem estaria no Mount Rushmore, né, os 4 melhores da NBA, da NFL, enfim. E falando do Mount Rushmore do MMA brasileiro, quem você acha que estaria nesse patamar no MMA do Brasil, e se você acha que você estaria entre eles?
Bom, minha carreira, eu só vou poder responder sobre mim quando minha carreira acabar. Eu acho, como eu falei, eu tenho muita coisa para fazer ainda, então posso ser que eu surpreenda, mas com mais resultados e, enfim. Mas, pô, no Brasil tem muitos talentos, né? A gente tem Minotauro, Verdun, Shogun, Aldo, pô, tem Anderson Silva, Vanderlei Silva. No Brasil tem inúmeros caras aí que essa montanha teria que ser escrita com mais cabeças. Realmente são muitos lutadores com resultados expressivos e que devem ser levados em consideração para o resto da vida e para o resto da história do esporte. Então, no Brasil, eu acho que essa montanha aí teria que ter pelo menos umas 20 cabeças.
Yeah, Brazil has many fighters, many great historical fighters. Regarding me, I can only talk about it once my career is over. So as I'm still fighting, there's a lot more to come. I believe I might still surprise a few people, and I might still do more in the sport. Once I'm done, I can start thinking about putting myself there. But judging about the guys that have already finished their careers, we have great names. We have Minotauro Nogueira, Anderson Silva, Vanderlei Silva, Shogun Rua, Aldo, Verdun, so Vanderlei Silva, so many names there that you can't just make a Mount Rushmore with just 4 guys. For Brazilian MMA, if you do that, it's not possible. So we would have to raise the number of guys on that Mount Rushmore to at least 20 guys.
Possibly. You're right. There's been a lot of great Brazilian fighters. I think you're definitely at the top, but I'll tell you what, when the career's over, we'll ask you that question again. By the way, shout out to Amanda Nunes. Hoist Gracie. There's a lot of them. You're right, man. There are a lot of them. But we're going to ask you that question at the end of your career, and then we'll see, because you have quite a resume. Okay, last question. The experiment to 135 pounds, it didn't go your way. Is that experiment done, or would you like to attempt it again? Only because I personally was fascinated by you attempting to be a champ. Not many people, or only one other person I can think of, I think, has done similar too. Sorry, Anatoly Malikin in one championship recently did something like that. And Dan Henderson was very impressive as a middleweight. He won a title there, light heavyweight, and then he won an open weight tournament called the Rings King of Kings tournament long time ago. I'm not even sure if you know about it, but so it's a rare feat. So I guess I'm asking, is that experiment done, or would you like to attempt it in the future?
Ele falou, né, que quando sua carreira terminar, eles vão lhe fazer a pergunta de novo do Mount Rushmore, deu um alô para também Royce, Amanda, outros grandes nomes que tem no MMA brasileiro, e sobre o seu experimento de lutar de peso galo. Né? Ele falou que ele ficou muito fascinado com a sua tentativa, né, de ser triplo campeão, e só existiam outros 2 casos, né, de atletas assim, que é o campeão do One agora, que foi campeão na 3ª categoria, só que lá tipo 9'3", 9'8" e peso pesado, tá? Eles criaram a categoria no meio. E Dan Henderson, que foi campeão no peso médio, foi campeão no peso meio pesado, e muitos anos atrás ele ganhou um torneio sem peso do Rings, que ele ganhou até de Minotauro. Ele não sabe se você é familiarizado com isso. E ele quer saber se esse experimento é algo que você ainda pretende fazer e seu pensamento, né, sobre como foi a experiência.
Bom, é algo muito relevante, né, no esporte se fazer isso. No MMA, as categorias de peso, elas são geralmente uma mais distante do que a outra, não é parecida com boxe, que são menos peso, menos quilos ali, de uma categoria para outra. Então se torna mais difícil ainda pelo ganho ou pela perca de peso, né, e a recuperação disso. Eu fiz uma luta de 61 e depois fiz uma luta de 70 em poucas semanas. Então, o que me move é o desafio. No momento, eu não vejo eu não tenho essa visão de lutar pelo título de 61, mas não descarto no futuro. Dependendo do desafio, dependendo de quem esteja o cinturão, a gente pode ir atrás. Pat Mix é um cara que está com o cinturão do Bellator. Respeito muito a história dele. A mãe dele é uma pessoa muito gente boa. É um cara também ali que mostrou muito respeito desde a hora que entrou no Bellator até hoje, como campeão até. Pô, então eu não desejo fazer essa luta. Tem alguns parceiros meus de treino que pretendem chegar no título e fazer esse combate, então não quero atrapalhar a carreira de ninguém. Se for um momento adequado, onde essa vaga esteja sem esse, né, questão de pessoas que eu admiro e também nenhum parceiro meu esteja querendo fazer esse duelo, aí sim eu acho que é o momento que eu posso fazer. Então, é isso. No momento estou focado na minha divisão, mas não abandono essa ideia, seja no Bellator ou em qualquer outra organização que o futuro me apresente.
Yeah, going for the third bout, you see how it's rare in MMA because the difference between the weight classes is too big. Like in boxing, you have a weight class every few pounds, and it's not the same here. So it makes it harder for us to do it. And as far as going for it again, right now I don't have that intent. The champion right now is Patricio Mix, and he's a guy that ever since he put his foot on Bellator, he's been respectful towards me. He kept being respectful after being the champion. His mother, she's lovely. I adore her, and we have a very good relationship. So I don't feel the particular need to go for that fight again. I also have teammates that are vying for that bout, and they're doing their road to the championship, and I wouldn't like to do anything to get in their way. But if things align, like if there's no one on the line, and if we have to do that fight, or if at some point the champion is someone that I don't like, that I don't have a good relationship with, or if it ends up making sense for the both of us, we could address that fight then. But right now, I don't feel the particular need for it. I'm going to focus on my title defenses for now.
Great stuff, champ. All right. Well, thank you for the time today. Mateus,
Thank
you,
you, brother.
you stumbled out of the gate with that mute button, but damn, you're a pretty good translator. You just remembered a lot of stuff in English and Portuguese. That was very, very impressive.
Thank you.
And Champ, let me tell you something. When you're done fighting, you should do movies, man. You could really be a good bad guy in action movies. I think you and Tom Cruise or something like that. You know, like Tom Cruise does his what's the movie he does? Mission Impossible.
I will think about it.
Mission Impossible in Brazil, and let Patricio be the bad guy, man. Look at he's got the beard. Put your hat like this. Put your hat like that and say in Portuguese, if you don't give me my money, I'm gonna kill you. Say that.
Se você não me der meu dinheiro, eu vou te matar, filho da puta.
Yeah.
This guy's got a future in
That
movies,
good?
man. Yeah, you're in great shape, champ. You look like you're ready to go. It's going to be a great fight against Jeremy Kennedy on the 22nd. We'll all be tuning in. The Bellator Champions Series. Patricio Pitbull Freire defends his belt against Jeremy Kennedy. Thank you for the time. Muito obrigado.
Appreciate, my friend. Obrigado.